A poor man snatched a bag from an old lady but almost screamed when he saw his photo in her wallet. As long as he could remember, Jose had always lived in an orphanage. He had only vague memories of having parents once, but the boy had forgotten their faces. He was told that they had died when he was just a baby. Life in the orphanage was tough. Every day the children were woken up very early, the schedule was very strict and allowed no time for free play. Jose felt lonely among the other orphans. They were like him in some ways, but also very distant. Each had endured their own sad story full of pain and disappointment. The orphanage was an uncomfortable, impersonal place. In identical rooms stood simple wooden beds with hard mattresses and dull lockers. The bare walls had neither pictures nor drawings. Jose desperately dreamed of having his own little corner where he could occasionally retreat and daydream. The caregivers at the orphanage tried to take care of the children, but there were too few of them. Jose often felt unnoticed and forgotten. He lacked the support of adults who could provide him with a sense of security and warmth. Other children felt the same as Jose, so they often fought for the caregiver's attention and toys. The boy tried to avoid conflicts and would hide in a corner with an old, worn book. This book was the only reminder of his past life. Jose hadn't forgotten how his mother used to read him fairy tales from it. He often leafed through the yellowed pages and looked at the illustrations. They depicted the happy faces of princes and princesses, and Jose would sigh, envying them desperately. The boy often had to defend himself from other children who tried to snatch and tear his book, knowing how precious it was to him. In those moments, he wanted to cry, and each cruel altercation left deep scars on his soul. At night before falling asleep, Jose would dream of someone coming to the orphanage one day and taking him to a new home where he would be loved and cared for. He imagined new parents embracing him and telling him that everything would always be okay. This gave Jose the strength to get through the next day. Sometimes the boy dreamed happy dreams where he saw himself surrounded by a loving family. He imagined a bright and beautiful house where he lived with parents who accepted him just as he was. After such dreams, Jose always woke up in tears. Every time childless families came to the orphanage, Jose's heart would race with hope. But to his great disappointment, he was never chosen. In those moments, Jose felt as if he didn't exist in the world at all and that he was simply invisible. The boy would sigh heavily but continue to believe that one day his dream would come true. One day, while the children were playing with a ball in the yard, an older woman arrived at the orphanage. She was wearing a worn but clean and well-pressed dress. Her dark hair, streaked with gray, was neatly arranged around her head. Jose immediately noticed that the woman had a very kind face and clear eyes. With her was a girl who seemed to be about the same age as the boy. She looked very much like the woman. She must be her daughter, Jose thought. I wonder why they are here. The woman and her daughter were met by the director of the orphanage, who invited them inside. They obediently followed him, disappearing from Jose's view. He continued to play with the other kids, but the strangers were constantly on his mind. About half an hour later, one of the caregivers appeared in the yard. She quickly approached the boy and said, "Follow me, Jose. The director is expecting you in his office." Jose could hardly believe his ears, but he immediately dropped the ball and followed the caregiver. "What did he do?" shouted one of the kids behind him. "Is he going to be punished?" asked another. But the caregiver did not answer them or even look back. She walked very fast, and Jose barely managed to keep up. When they reached the director's office, the caregiver turned to the boy and checked if his face was clean. Then she adjusted the collar of his shirt and opened the door for him. "Jose has come at your request," said the caregiver. The boy walked in and took a seat on a chair by the door. In the office, besides the director, were the very strangers Jose had been thinking about. "Jose, say hello to Senora Castro. She wants to become your adoptive mother," said the director. Upon hearing this, Jose felt his heart race. Could it be true? "Hello, Senora," Jose replied politely. My name is Maria, said the woman, pointing to the girl sitting next to her. She added, and this is my daughter Anna. Nice to meet you, Jose replied mechanically. His thoughts were a jumble in his head. Anna gave him a nod. Why do you want another child when you already have your own? Jose asked unexpectedly. The director looked at him disapprovingly, but Senora Castro only smiled, and this made her face seem even kinder. I have always dreamed of having a son. But my husband died very early, and I never got to fulfill my wish. Now I am too old to have my own children, so I decided to adopt a child. I thought I'd find a good boy around Anna's age. You'd have more fun together. You're 10 years old, aren't you? Jose nodded. And so is Anna, Maria smiled again. Wonderful. Jose dared to exhale. He nervously fiddled with a button on his shirt and decided to ask. May I take the book that I got from my mom with me? It's very old and worn. Of course, you can take it, Senora Castro replied. Upon hearing this, the boy beamed with a wide smile. Now he was sure he would like his new family. And so it happened. Within a week, Jose's life changed dramatically. He moved into Maria and Anna's home. It was small but bright and very cozy. The boy immediately liked the house. It had a pleasant smell, and he had his own room. It had a soft bed, and the walls were adorned with shelves full of books and posters of cartoon characters. Maria treated him like her own son, seeing in him a smart and kind boy who needed love and support. Anna quickly became friends with Jose too. During the school vacation, they played together all day. The girl showed Jose all her toys, and he was very surprised when he realized she didn't mind him playing with them. Mom, he's so nice. Anna told Maria. I'm so glad I have a brother now. Maria was delighted to hear these words. Before deciding to adopt, she was very worried that the new child might not get along with Anna. But her fears turned out to be unfounded. The friendship between Jose and Anna developed quickly, and they became almost inseparable. They invented new games together, and once even built a small fort in their little garden. There, the children would hide and tell each other scary stories. When summer vacation ended, Maria took Jose to school and enrolled him in the same class as Anna. The classmates greeted the new student quite warmly. They liked Anna and immediately accepted her brother. Maria helped Jose with his homework and encouraged his eagerness to learn, so he would settle into his new school quickly. Anna also supported Jose, helping him remember rules and other study material. Maria knew how to create a warm family atmosphere at home. She cooked very well and often asked Anna and Jose to help her. They had a great time peeling potatoes or chopping vegetables for salad. One evening at dinner, Maria proposed a new tradition. Children, let's have picnics every Sunday. Jose and Anna eagerly agreed. Now, at the end of each week, they would wake up early, prepare sandwiches and homemade lemonade, and carry it all to the garden. Jose would spread a checkered blanket on the grass, and they would have breakfast outdoors before playing games or talking about various things. The boy had never felt happier. Thus, Jose and Anna grew up together, enjoying every moment of their childhood. Their friendship and understanding deepened with each passing year. They shared joys and sorrows, supported each other in every endeavor, and faced difficulties together. As Jose and Anna reached their teenage years, they began to develop new interests and friends, but they still shared everything that happened to them. Together, they dreamed about the time when they would finish school and go to college. Maybe we'll even manage to get into university, Anna said with hope as she opened her notebook to start her homework. Why not? Jose supported her. He was also doing his homework, sitting next to Anna at the kitchen table. I would like to become a designer, the girl said, nibbling on the end of her pencil. And I want to be a programmer, the boy shared his thoughts. Anna nodded. That's a wonderful profession, she exclaimed. I hope we make it. We will. Jose smiled. His heartfelt conversations with his sister inspired him, and he was confident that together they could achieve anything. When Jose and Anna reached their senior year, their relationship began to change. Jose had always known that Anna was his best friend, but now he realized that his feelings for her had grown much deeper. He began to notice how beautiful she was and felt embarrassed by this thought. His heart beat a little faster when he saw Anna, and Jose was afraid she might notice it. He didn't know if Anna felt the same way about him, and he was scared and uncomfortable asking her about it. Maria saw how Jose looked at her daughter but did not interfere. At these moments, she regretted more than ever that her husband was not around. He could talk to Jose about his feelings like a man to a man, Maria thought. It was a challenging time. Exams and college applications were approaching. Jose and Anna were preparing for these important events in their lives, and Maria supported them as much as she could. There was no time to think about anything else. Soon, the prom was coming up, an important event for all the school students. Jose and Anna eagerly anticipated the day. Maria sewed a beautiful pink dress from shiny satin fabric for her daughter, and Anna made her own pearl bead accessories. Jose was given a used suit and a white shirt. The boy thought that he and Anna would go to the prom together. Secretly, he hoped that they would become a real couple. Jose awaited the prom with both excitement and trepidation. Maybe I'll even manage to tell Anna about my feelings there, he thought. However, Anna was unaware of his plans. On prom night, the girl was very nervous. She kept checking the time, afraid of missing it. 4 hours before the prom started, she rushed to her room to get dressed, do her hair, and apply makeup. Jose found this odd and a bit amusing. He had already prepared his suit and shirt, which were hanging in the wardrobe, and all he had to do was put them on. It'll only take me 10 minutes to get ready, Jose thought. There was only an hour left until the prom. Jose was already ready and even went to a nearby store to buy Anna flowers in a soft pink that matched her dress. Finally, Anna emerged from her room. She was wearing her enchanting dress and accessories. Her hair was styled to one side, cascading in a beautiful wave down one shoulder. Anna was in high-heeled shoes, something Jose had never seen her wear before. He was struck with awe. You look amazing. You're so beautiful, Anna. The boy stammered, handing her the flowers. Anna took the bouquet, gave him a playful smile, and twirled around the room for added effect. Thank you. You look very handsome today, too, she cheerfully told Jose. We're taking a taxi, the boy said. It should be here in 10 minutes. Anna turned and looked at Jose in confusion. Then, a look of embarrassment crossed her face. At that moment, the sound of a motor was heard outside. Anna perked up and dashed to the window. It's here already, she exclaimed in distress. Who? Jose asked, puzzled. Anna looked at him apologetically. Jose, dear, I'm so sorry, but I can't go to the prom with you, she said quietly. But, why? Jose whispered. I'm sorry. I didn't tell you earlier, Anna hurriedly replied, avoiding his gaze. Marcos Aguilera from the parallel class invited me. Jose stared at the girl in confusion. Marcos? The one who drives the fancy Jeep? He asked. Anna nodded. I'm sorry, she said again and flew out of the room. Jose was left alone. In her haste, Anna had left the flowers on the table. The boy took a vase, filled it with water, and placed the bouquet inside. Then he went to the window. The luxurious black Jeep was still parked at their gate. Next to it, leaning casually against the car, stood a tall boy in an expensive suit. Jose recognized him. Marcos had always attracted attention with his manners and status. Anna was standing beside him, smiling and talking to him. Jose's heart ached with pain and jealousy as he watched Marcos embrace Anna, open the front door for her, and help her into the car. Marcos then climbed in, and the Jeep drove away. Jose stood by the window for a while, making up his mind. That evening, he didn't go to the prom. His heart was shattered. Jose went upstairs, packed a few belongings into a bag, and wrote a note to Maria, who was at work that day. He apologized and expressed his deep love for her. After leaving the note on the kitchen table, he left the house and headed to the train station. There, Jose bought a ticket to another city and boarded the train. He decided to leave to start a new, independent life and forget the first love that had unexpectedly blossomed in his heart. On the train, Jose felt lonely and lost, but was resolute about not going back. I need to find my place in this world, he thought. It's time to prove that I can support myself and not just rely on my mother. Let Anna realize what she lost. Jose knew his actions would hurt Maria, who had always been kind to him and had done everything she could for him, as if he were her own son. However, Jose was stubborn, and Anna's actions had deeply wounded his feelings. He would never go back home. The young man was torn by a whirlwind of emotions, fear of the unknown, jealousy, sadness, and hope for a better future. Maybe I can become wealthy like Marcos, Jose mused. Then Anna will regret her decision. When Jose arrived in the new city, he found a cheap hostel near the station and checked in. He knew that he would face many challenges, finding a job and permanent housing, meeting new people, and making friends. Resentment and anger fueled his determination to overcome all obstacles. The next day, Jose started looking for work to earn his own money. Soon, he managed to get a part-time job at a cafe, washing dishes and helping in the kitchen. However, a few days later, the head chef complained to the owner that Jose worked too slowly and was overly meticulous, and Jose was fired without pay. Jose was disheartened but didn't give up. He decided to try his luck in construction. He got hired, but the work was very hard. Jose was exhausted, and upon returning home, he would collapse onto his bed and fall asleep despite the noise made by the other hostile guests. He worked tirelessly for a whole month without a day off to earn enough for a meager existence. Yet, disappointment awaited him once more. He was not paid again, and this time, no reason was given. "You're fired, kid," he was told, and Jose was powerless to do anything about it. Jose had no money left. He went to bed without having dinner and woke up the next day with a high fever. Despite this, he went out into the city to look for work. He looked a mess, swollen eyes, unkempt hair, and crumpled, stale clothes. Seeing all this, employers heartlessly turned him away. The young man was on the brink of despair. He had visited many places, but it was all in vain. His hope for a better future was gradually fading. In the evening, as Jose was returning home after a fruitless day, he realized he hadn't eaten anything for a long time. His stomach was growling with hunger, but there wasn't a single coin left in his wallet. How would he survive another day without food? Jose walked into a store, not sure what he was hoping for. His head was spinning, everything was hazy, and his heart was pounding heavily in his chest. Jose stumbled through the aisles of groceries and prepared foods, realizing he couldn't afford anything. He stopped by a display of pastries and, unexpectedly, picked up one of them. The bun smelled of cinnamon and vanilla. Without realizing what he was doing, Jose hid it under his jacket and hurried toward the exit. No one stopped him. Once outside the store, he went around the corner, took out the bun, and ate it quickly. Despite his guilt, he found himself thinking he should have taken more. He was still hungry. His whole being wanted to return to the store, but Jose composed himself and trudged home. On the way, he stopped by a park near his home. Sitting on a bench, he looked up at the stars and sighed heavily. What had he done? He had never stolen before. Jose thought about Maria and Anna. How were they? Did they remember him, or had they long forgotten his existence and were even glad he had disappeared? What would they say if they knew about his actions? Deep down, Jose knew the answer. Maria and Anna missed him and were waiting for his return. His kind foster mother would cry if she knew he had stolen a bun from the store. Jose sighed. Maybe it's better to forget my pride and go back home, he thought, and was about to stand up and head toward the exit when he noticed a young man, about his age, sitting on a nearby bench and staring at him brazenly. What are you staring at? Jose asked rudely. He was hungry and angry at the whole world and this city, which had not been very kind to him. "Just curious about what you're doing here in the middle of the night," the young man replied nonchalantly, lighting a cigarette. "I want to sit here, so I am," Jose retorted. "You look pretty lost," the young man observed casually, taking a drag from his cigarette and releasing a stream of smoke into the air. "I'm tired of working for free," Jose admitted unexpectedly. "And they don't want to pay me." "Oh, I understand you," the young man said. "I went through the same thing once." "And now?" Jose asked, leaning forward. He suddenly felt that this guy might be able to help him. "And now I live in luxury," the young man replied, giving Jose a sly look. "By the way, my name is Miguel." "Jose," the young man replied. "Nice to meet you. So what do you do?" Jose asked impatiently. "Are you a director of a chocolate factory?" "Better," Miguel answered, his eyes gleaming mysteriously in the dark. Jose intuitively sensed the danger in that look but pushed aside all caution. He was very eager to earn some money. Miguel turned out to be a pickpocket looking for a partner. He promised to teach Jose everything he knew. "You'll quickly see how your wallet will fatten up. This isn't like construction, where they just throw us out." Jose reluctantly agreed. He knew that stealing was wrong and could feel how disappointed Maria would be if she knew, but the image of the expensive Jeep that Anna had gotten into in her beautiful pink dress still lingered in his mind. "If I want to win her back, I have to get rich by any means," Jose decided. Thus, he embarked on the wrong path and began helping Miguel steal wallets, purses, and bags. The first time went well, but guilt and fear haunted Jose even in his dreams. He knew stealing was wrong, but the desire to prove himself drove him to do it again and again. Each time Jose promised himself it would be the last, but he could no longer stop. Gradually, Jose gained experience and became a true professional in his field. He and Miguel pulled off various schemes and bigger thefts, always managing to escape unscathed. Miguel was very pleased with his new partner, considering Jose a talented thief. Jose himself thought of his criminal activities as merely temporary. "As soon as I save enough money to buy a house and a car, I'll quit stealing," he thought. But the criminal present increasingly pulled him deeper into a pit of sin, causing him to forget his past and abandon his dreams for the future. Jose seldom thought about the kind-hearted Maria anymore, and the image of Anna only occasionally flickered in his dreams, causing a painful pang in his heart. 15 years passed. Jose still hadn't been able to quit his criminal trade. He hadn't been in touch with Miguel for a long time. They had a falling out over another big theft and ceased to be partners. However, Jose did not stop stealing. He had become accustomed to getting everything easily. The man was barely aware of how his life was passing by. Thinking about it was too painful and frightening. One day, Jose was walking through the very park where he had once met Miguel. The weather was lovely, and Jose was full and content. He had enough money to live comfortably for several more years. However, out of habit, he scanned the crowd, looking for an easy target. It had become a sort of game for him, one he played out of boredom. Finally, he spotted an old woman sitting on one of the benches. She was perched on the edge of the bench, tossing feed to the birds that fluttered and chirped around her. Her bag was lying beside her, but she paid it no attention. Too easy, Jose smirked and made his way towards the bench. "Are you really going to do this?" A voice suddenly spoke in his head. "Steal a bag from a poor old woman?" Jose froze for a moment. It seemed as if the voice came from someone else. Someone he had long forgotten. Was it the voice of his kind adoptive mother? Or the woman he hadn't seen in so long? Jose didn't know the answer, but tears welled up in his eyes for a moment. He quickly composed himself and sat on the bench. "I'm a professional, and sentimentality is alien to me," he thought sharply. The old woman was oblivious to him. Jose reached out for her bag, but suddenly she turned and grasped the handles. Jose hesitated for a moment, but he was not one to change his plans. While the old woman fumbled with the zipper, Jose yanked the bag from her hands and sprinted down one of the park paths. He was surprised not to hear any screams behind him. The old woman seemed paralyzed, not knowing how to react to what had happened. The poor thing never thought something so unfortunate could happen to her, Jose thought with a touch of cruelty. He ran out of the park and darted behind the nearest building to hide as quickly as possible. Reaching an abandoned house, Jose stopped to catch his breath and opened the bag. Inside were just a wallet, an umbrella, and a compact mirror. A sudden wave of shame washed over him for robbing an old woman who was much poorer than he was, but he quickly suppressed the guilt out of habit. Pulling out the wallet, Jose opened it and nearly gasped in astonishment. Inside was a photo of himself. "But this can't be," the man muttered. Jose's head spun. He stared unblinkingly at the photo, where he was no older than 12, hugging Anna around the neck with his small arm. He remembered that day vividly. They had been playing in the garden when Maria came out onto the porch and called them. "It's such a wonderful day. And you're playing so well and sweetly. I want to take a photo of you for memory." Jose and Anna had embraced and smiled, and Maria took the picture. "Wonderful," she said, her eyes shining with happiness. Then they ran off to play, and he forgot about the photo. And now Jose saw it in the old woman's wallet, from whom he had just stolen the bag. Could it really be Maria? Had she aged so much that he didn't even recognize her? Or was it all because of his hardened, frozen heart that failed to react to someone close to him? Jose was on the verge of tears, but he knew the past couldn't be undone. He immediately rushed back to the park and searched for the bench where the old woman had been sitting, but it was now empty. Apparently, Maria hadn't called the police. Perhaps she even recognized him and chose to remain silent about the theft. Jose felt overwhelmed with shame. His kind adoptive mother had done so much for him, and he had acted like a complete scoundrel. Jose's heart was filled with pain and remorse. He realized he had hurt someone who had always cared for and loved him. Sitting on the bench, Jose mentally looked back with horror at his life. How could he have fallen so low? Only now did he understand that none of this was a game. He had become a real criminal, and now his hands were stained with hundreds of crimes and billions of tears from those he had deceived, robbed, and betrayed. Jose fearfully glanced at his hands and unconsciously rubbed them, as if trying to wipe away the traces of his criminal past. Evening came quickly, and it began to darken. The man remained in the park, forgetting about time. When the streetlights flickered on, Jose finally came to his senses. He picked up Maria's wallet again and looked at the photo. "Anna," Jose whispered softly, feeling that the love he once had for her was still alive in his heart. Jose continued to examine the contents of the wallet and found another old black and white photo. It was of Maria herself. Now Jose had no doubt that he had stolen the bag from his adoptive mother. "I have to return to Maria what I've stolen," Jose decided. But how? Apparently, she and Anna had moved and now lived in the same city as him, but he didn't know their new address. Jose sighed heavily, holding back tears, and then noticed a piece of paper in the wallet, torn from a notebook. He took it out and held it up to the light. On the paper, in Anna's handwriting, which he would recognize among 1,000, was an address. Jose was astonished. He knew this area well. It was where the most expensive houses in the city were located, and the wealthiest people lived there. Could Anna now reside there? Perhaps she had married a wealthy man. Jose sighed, but decided to go to the address the next day to find out everything and return Maria's bag. Jose tossed and turned in bed all night, unable to sleep. Just before dawn, he dozed off for a short while but woke up again an hour later. Realizing he wouldn't be able to sleep any longer, Jose got up, took a shower, then dressed and left the house carrying a plastic bag with Maria's purse. His home was not far from the area mentioned on the piece of paper in the wallet. It took Jose no more than 20 minutes to get there. He quickly found the house. It was a large mansion painted a soft blue. It was still very early, and the surroundings were quiet. Jose wasn't sure what to do. Should he ring the doorbell or wait for someone to come out? After some hesitation, he decided to hide nearby and wait. Eventually, the door opened, and a dignified elderly man and a pleasant-looking woman of about his age emerged. They said goodbye to someone who had seen them off, then got into a luxurious car parked outside and drove away. Jose's instincts, honed over years of thievery, told him that the way was now clear. He emerged from his hiding spot and walked up the neat path to the house. When he rang the doorbell, he felt his heart was ready to leap out of his chest. Such nervousness was unfamiliar to him. He had long cultivated a cool demeanor and had been indifferent to most events in his life. What was happening now? It seemed intuitively that something significant was about to change. And it did. The door opened, and a young woman appeared on the threshold. Her features seemed familiar and even dear to Jose. She had changed a lot over the years. Her hair was now dyed a lighter shade, and there were fine wrinkles on her face, but he still recognized his beloved Anna. Jose was momentarily speechless. He felt like an 18-year-old youth experiencing his first romantic feelings. Anna was dressed in a maid's outfit, a black dress with a white collar and a white apron. She held a dusting cloth in her hand. "What do you want?" She frowned, not recognizing the man. Jose took a shaky breath. "Anna," he croaked. "It's me, Jose." The woman gasped, covering her mouth with her hand. "Jose? It can't be." She could only stammer. Jose nodded. "Yes, it's me," he said bitterly. "But you disappeared many years ago," Anna exclaimed. "Mom and I cried so much when you left." Jose felt a pang of guilt. "I knew this would happen, but I still didn't come back," he thought to himself. "May I come in?" he asked cautiously. "Of course," Anna replied, stepping aside. "But how did you know I work here?" Jose felt his ears start to burn. How could he admit to Anna that he had become a thief? And that he had stolen a bag from their kind mother? She will never forgive me, Jose thought bitterly. He cursed himself with the harshest words. "What a fool I am," he mentally cursed himself. "I'll explain everything, Anna," Jose said. Anna led him into the living room and seated him on the couch. "Jose, you can't be here," she said. "I live and work in this mansion, and I'm not allowed to bring guests. But the owners are out shopping, so we have some time. For you, I'll break the rules just this once." Jose felt that Anna still considered him a close person and trusted him. He felt both bitter and comforted by this. "It's a shame this won't last long. As soon as I tell her about the stolen bag, she'll kick me out right away," Jose thought. Anna sat down next to him and looked at him intently. Her gaze conveyed love and tenderness. "I missed you so much, Jose," Anna confessed. "Why did you run away?" "I couldn't stay," the man admitted. He didn't want to recall that distant time, but Anna was waiting for an explanation, and Jose decided to tell her everything. "I was so hurt when you chose not to go to the prom with me and went with Marcos instead," he confessed, leaving out the fact that he had fallen in love with her. Anna lowered her head in embarrassment. "I was such an idiot," she suddenly said. Jose looked at her in confusion. "That jerk," Anna continued angrily. "I don't even want to remember his name." Jose suddenly felt a surge of anxiety. "Anna, what did he do?" he asked with concern. The woman sniffled, as if what she was talking about had happened only yesterday. "He got drunk and started harassing me. Fortunately, he didn't succeed. Senor Martinez, the physics teacher, heard my screams and came into the empty classroom where Marcos had taken me and was holding me against my will." Jose instinctively clenched his fists. "If only I had known earlier," he said, feeling anger rise within him. "I shouldn't have left you alone." Anna sniffled again and nodded. "And I shouldn't have gone to the prom with that scoundrel." The woman looked at the man with hope. "But you won't disappear again, Jose, will you?" She asked, and added, "Mom and I searched for you for so long. We found out at the station which city you went to, and we moved here too. But we never managed to find you. Mom was so heartbroken over you." She went completely gray. Anna burst into tears as she said this. "I felt like it was my fault. You ran away because of me." She sobbed through her tears. Jose awkwardly embraced her to comfort her. "It's not your fault," he muttered. "I acted like a complete jerk. I left you and ran away." "The past cannot be changed," Anna wisely observed, wiping her tears. "But now we'll be together again, won't we? Mom will be so happy." She was already so upset and almost fell ill because some scoundrel in the park stole her purse with the last of her money. Jose felt a chill inside. He realized it was time to confess everything. "That was me," he whispered barely audibly. Anna couldn't immediately believe what she had heard. "Jose, don't joke like that," she said with a smile, looking him in the eyes. But the man didn't return her smile, and his face remained serious. "It's not a joke," he said simply, pulling Maria's purse from the bag. Anna gasped in horror. "But, how could you?" she exclaimed. Her face reflected a tumult of emotions: anger, disbelief, shock, pity, and disappointment. "Anna, forgive me," Jose whispered. "I don't know how it happened, but I've been stealing all this time. I'm ashamed of how I've lived my life." Anna stood up from the couch, swaying slightly, and left the room. She was shocked by what she had just learned. Jose leaned back against the soft cushion and closed his eyes for a moment. "It's all over now. She'll never forgive me," he thought again. When he opened his eyes, he straightened up and carefully placed Maria's purse beside him. Then he stood up and headed for the door, feeling as if a part of him had died forever. In the hallway, Jose noticed a set of expensive antique clocks on a shelf. Unconsciously, he reached for them and took them in his hands. He then hid the clocks under his coat and went out the door. He thought of nothing else, as if his heart had permanently stopped beating. Jose returned home and placed the clocks on the nightstand beside him. He stared at them with unseeing eyes for a long time before falling asleep unnoticed. He woke up to loud banging. Stumbling down the stairs, he opened the door to find 3 police officers standing on the doorstep. "Jose Castro?" one of them asked. The man simply nodded in response. "You are charged with the theft of a valuable item. Surveillance cameras caught you. We have a warrant to search your home." Jose silently stepped aside to let the police officers in. They began to walk through the house, and one of them went upstairs to the bedroom. A few minutes later, he returned with the stolen clocks. "You are under arrest and have the right to remain silent. You will need to come with us to the station," said the officer as he put handcuffs on Jose. Jose nodded passively, showing no resistance to the arrest. He didn't care. At the station, he confirmed that he had stolen the clocks from a wealthy mansion and signed all the necessary paperwork. "Do you regret what you've done?" the investigator asked. "Yes," Jose replied. "Then you have a chance to get a lighter sentence at the trial, which will be held in a month," the officer said. Jose merely shrugged in response. "What difference does it make if Anna won't even speak to me?" he thought to himself. Jose was taken to a cell, where he remained until the trial. A few days before the hearing, Jose met with his lawyer. "I will do my best to get you out of this situation," the lawyer said. "Don't bother too much," Jose replied in an indifferent tone. However, the lawyer was determined to help. On the day of the trial, the courtroom was full of people: lawyers, witnesses, police officers. Jose scanned the room for Anna, but she was not there. He took his seat on the defendant's bench and lowered his head, not looking at anyone. The defendant's lawyer spoke to the court about the defendant's difficult childhood and his remorse for his actions. "My client acted out of desperation and fear for his future. He has realized his mistake and is ready to face the consequences of his actions," the lawyer said. However, the judge did not find these arguments convincing. "What difficulties are you talking about?" The defendant had a home, a car, and savings. The lawyer had no response. For the theft of a valuable item, Jose Castro is sentenced to 1 year in prison with the possibility of parole after 6 months for good behavior, the judge declared, and raised his gavel to finalize the sentence. At that moment, the courtroom doors swung open and a woman appeared at the threshold. "Wait, Judge!" she cried out. "What is happening?" The judge asked in surprise. "Who is this woman?" "I came here to testify in the case," the stranger said in an excited voice, and Jose was astonished to recognize Anna. "What is she doing here?" he wondered. "Did she come for me?" A flicker of hope suddenly ignited in his heart. "Anna," he whispered. The young woman stepped forward and began to speak. She told the court about her childhood with Jose and about what happened on the night of the graduation ball. With despair in her voice, Anna blamed herself for everything that had happened to Jose. "If I hadn't been so blind, Jose wouldn't have left home and gone down the wrong path," Anna said. Her story deeply moved everyone in the courtroom. "Please, Judge," Anna pleaded. "Please reduce the sentence. I don't want Jose to go to prison. He has always been kind, caring, and responsible. Jose has always been like a brother to me. He was just trying to find his place in life, but ended up destitute and in a difficult situation. I'm sure it's not too late to make things right. Give Jose a second chance. My brother has realized his mistake and deserves the opportunity to make amends and start a new life." Anna knew that convincing the judge was no easy task, but she wholeheartedly believed she could succeed. At that moment, Maria entered the courtroom. She also spoke in Jose's defense, describing how caring and obedient he had been as a boy. "Jose fulfilled my dream and became the best son in the world. I would never wish for anyone else." Hearing this, Jose felt tears streaming down his cheeks. "Mom has forgiven me," he thought with relief. Now he was ready to fight for his future. He finally had something to lose. When given the chance to speak, Jose apologized to everyone he had hurt and deceived, and vowed never to steal again. After that, the judge made his decision. Considering all the circumstances of the case, the defendant's sincere remorse, and the support from his family, I have decided to give Jose Castro the opportunity to make amends and reduce the sentence. Instead of imprisonment, I am sentencing him to 6 months of community service. These words were a true relief to everyone present. The courtroom erupted in applause. Jose, Anna, and Maria still couldn't believe that their family was together again. At first, it was a bit difficult for everyone, but with each passing day, their interactions became more trusting and close. Jose finally confessed to Anna that he had loved her all his life, and she responded that she had feelings for him as well. When Jose's community service was over, he sold the house, the car, and everything he owned, donating the money to charitable organizations. Then he, Anna, and Maria returned to their old home in their hometown. Jose and his beloved had a modest wedding and, having forever put the past behind them, began